got a lot of comments coming in already. Good to see everyone. This is our first late night training. We had to accommodate the Aussie. Everybody, welcome Adam. We're going to be talking all things scaling your marketing agency with VAs, getting super efficient, having 90% margins in your agency, training your VAs to write awesome copy and doing it in record time. And Adam is the bomb at this because he created the PDOC system, and he's going to be sharing a lot of that today. You're going to get some free downloads, and we're going to be sharing our screen on exactly like how he's built this system to train the VAs to use this. So if you're a VA, this is awesome for you. If you're an agency that is looking to hire VAs, this is great for you. Actually, with that in mind, I'm going to ask a poll here. If you guys wouldn't mind responding to it, describe your agency to me. I'm curious if you're in Facebook ads, Google AdWords, SEO, automations, and tech. And in the meantime, Adam, how's it going over there?
Yeah, man. Wait, can you see my screen? Can you see my camera, or did that turn off?
Yeah, I can see your camera, man. You look good.
Oh, I can't even see my. Oh, that's weird, man. It's like not a mirror. Yeah, nice to meet you, man. Super excited to get into it. I'll share screens and I'll get stuck in because I know we already got like an hour or so. Basically, I'm gonna try jam as much as I can into this, and then anything else I miss out, I'll just put into a free resource for everybody later. Because I really want people to implement this out. You know, there's no point getting messages saying, "Hey, that was amazing," but nobody actually implements it. So I'll pull up my slides here.
Sweet. And I'll be in the background here. If you guys have any questions, post it here in the chat. And when there's a good spot, I'll hop in and ask Adam to explain more. If you're watching the recording, there is a resources section next to this video that has the downloads available for you. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's kick it off.
Sweet, man. The downloads as well, I'll upload those as soon as it's finished. So if you sign up and there's nothing there, don't freak out. I'll just add it in because I'll clean it all up. So basically, what we're focusing on is Jarvis for us was a missing link. It has allowed us to really, you know, I'll get into like what PDOCs is and what we do, but basically like our focus is, you know, turning like a one-man skill set into like an ideation machine. And we build out these systems for companies and for people. And it's pretty much about building these ad machines out. So like I said, I'll try to cover as much as I possibly can. However, I've created a free little thing here. It's actually hyphenated. There you go. pdocsmethod.com/AI ad machine. And I'll just keep updating that. I mean, it's just going to be evergreen. So I'll just keep throwing everything in. So I'll just give like a super quick intro so you guys have context. You know, like if you're like a new brand and you have no social proof, no reputation, and you want to compete, you know, online, there's like, I think it's like 7 million advertisers on Facebook, 5 million advertisers on Google Ads. I think ad spend is going to be like 141 billion by 2024, last time I checked. Now, like imagine you're doing that, but you have like a really small budget. This was essentially our job. So our agency was a last line of defense type agency where, you know, we would be brought in through like VCs and sometimes do like private equity. And we do have a lot of startups, a lot of celebrity startups as well. And some of these ideas, man, are kind of just like some of them are kind of half-baked. Like, you know, like they would spend all their money on like branding, and we would have to come in at the very last minute to kind of make something happen. So, you know, we didn't really have the budget to hire expensive copywriters or do like very, you know, high production Harmon Brothers stuff, even though it's amazing. So what we would do is we actually took the budget we had and we would spin up small teams of virtual assistants and call them pods. And we taught them this acronym called PDOCs, which stands for pains, desires, common beliefs, obstacles, and steroids. Okay, so what we would do is we would just get VAs, and I'll show you guys, I'll break down the whole process, but we would get them and we would just literally identify tons and tons of pain points, test them through a testing structure I'll give you guys. And then from there, you know, by the time our competitors would write like a landing page, we'd already have like 50 ideas we tested and then turn them into individual businesses almost. So
Hey, Adam, real quick, would you be able to present in full screen? Because
yeah,
in the recording, it's going to be even smaller. So,
yeah,
uh, when possible, also like zoom in and stuff like that
yeah, man.
to be able to help the people see the words on the screen.
All right, sweet. How's that? Is that all right?
Looking good, man. Thank you.
Sweet. So yeah, I mean, it's about finding like chinks in the armor, right? Because it's about finding very specific pain points, and then we would just test those. So once we taught VAs how to use PDocs, it was like the first step to really creating like this type of machine. So the result for this is we've done over $100 million generated just using this process. Basically spinning up VAs to be able to do pain point research and then testing it out. Few of our stuff there. You can go back and look at it, but I want to kind of really break down the method in detail. So the method really, and I'm going to show you how to use Jarvis in each of these steps, is first of all, you want to identify what is called PDocs in customers. This is just, is it a pain, desire, obstacle, common belief, or steroid? And a steroid is like a traffic driver, like Russell Brunson is a steroid of, funnels or marketing. Wolf of Wall Street is a steroid of sales. So next, what you want to do is after you've identified pain points, desires, obstacles, common beliefs, steroids, you want to then create what's called transitional messaging. And what this is about is taking somebody from unaware to problem aware. From there, you want to test and validate via a feedback loop. There you want to optimize and refine, and then you want to scale. So each of these steps is how you kind of build up this system. So I'm going to go through the workflow. This will make more sense in more vivid detail of what each person should do. But I'll show you how we use this with Jarvis as well. So the very first thing is identifying PDocs. Really, we just use these simple spreadsheets here, and I'm gonna show you an example here. This is just one I pulled up. This is just what we'd get VAs to do. We still get VAs to do the exact same thing. They'll go through like an Amazon thread or anything like that. I'll actually paste the research guide in that resource file if you want. And then they'll go through and they'll basically extract the comment, and then they'll say, is it a problem? Like, is it like a pain or a problem physical, or is it emotional? Is it a desire physical, or is it a desire emotional? Is it an obstacle? Is it a common belief, or is it a steroid? So they just go through and they just grade all these pain points just like that. Now, what we want to do is these are like the specific pains that people have, or these are the specific common beliefs people have. Like this one here, we're selling supplements, and it's like we're talking about brain fog and fatigue, or this one here is like a desire about sleeping better at night. And we do that, and then we'd actually get them to say how many times it's been mentioned so that we could pick out these pain points. Any questions about that, or?
Kind of similar, especially when it comes down to copywriting and landing page design and all of these things. Having the spreadsheet of your desires and all the objections, common beliefs. One way I find that is actually reading reviews. So if there's like Trustpilot, G2 Crowd, Capterra, YouTube, all those, you can really like extract those. You don't even have to like talk to customers or do the interview process.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy the kind of data you can get. Literally, like if we're in doubt, we'll just type in Reddit product, whatever the name is, review, and then Reddit just gives you such a good source of information. So we'll do that, and then we'll just like align all the angles that we want to test. Then what we'll do is, that's the first step, is identifying PDocs, and this is kind of like your pieces, right? So
and really to catch everybody up real quick, where we are at, like we are getting the research ready to hand and have the VAs be armed so that they can provide great work for the client. So like this first stage is so important, where you're doing the research, getting all of it together, and then they'll be able to put that into Jarvis to create copy for ads, landing pages, emails, stuff like that. Am I on point, Adam?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So this is like basically, it's kind of like the golden nuggets that you're going to form into a ring for later. What's really cool about this though is like it's always it's one specific pain point that you can literally build almost like a whole business of. Like, and I'll show you how to take basically one pain point and turn it into like 50 to 100 plus different ads. As an example, like, you know, we did $70 million in real estate. And it was just from one pain point that we turned into a bunch of ads, which is crazy because like they weren't like, you know, our competitors were doing very, very like high quality ads, things like that. We won't do anything high quality. I'm not saying you should ever not have high quality creative, but we just won't. But the pain points that we chose were just like, they just absolutely crushed. So it's just such a lethal strategy to go out and find these pain points. So once you find these pain points, this is where we get into what's called transitional messaging. So really like, and I think I might have a few of my like PDoc students here, but what we talk about is the holy grail of client acquisition or copy is the ability to take somebody from unaware to problem aware. So what you want to do is you want to identify a symptom level problem or desire or whatever, like a specific thing that people really care about. And then you want to transition it to the real problem. We call this transitional messaging. So Eugene Schwartz, most people should know these 5 stages of customer awareness. Really, it's about taking somebody from unaware to problem aware. And I'll show you like how we basically identify a stage of somebody and plug it into Jarvis. So here's a kind of a quick example. It's like most people will go here where people are problem aware, where really what you want to do is you want to identify the symptom level pains or the PDocs that people have in this stage, and then be able to transition them systematically to this stage. That's how you'll never have an empty pipeline again. So there's really 7 steps to taking somebody from unaware to problem aware. And it involves cognitive dissonance, and I'll show you the framework of how we create that and then how we plug that into Jarvis. So I'll go quickly. I think I have a picture of, maybe I took it out. Sean Vosser, absolute the man. His 7A framework. This is literally like the best reference I can think of in terms of like how to create cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is like, if I'm like a fitness trainer and I'm smoking every day, I'm going to have cognitive dissonance. You know, it's basically like when a behavior doesn't really match your attitude. And in copy, when you're writing ads and you're saying, hey, instead of doing this, you should do this, or you should buy this, effectively, you're trying to get people to change their behavior. So what you want to do is, this is Sean Vosser's framework, the contrarian copy structure. We use it every single day in our ads, and we find it's broken into 2 parts. And if you look at like the anatomy of an ad, it's really 2 parts. It's the zap, where like, this is where the PDocs comes in, where you find one specific thing and, you know, you drive attention to it, you acknowledge it, and then you agitate, you know, a different way of solving it. And then you got the conversion, which is like authority, angst, ambiguity, appeal. Authority, you know, like, is it authoritative? Is it logic? Angst, like, is it important enough to do it? Ambiguity, basically, like if there's too much ambiguity in something, it's like, it sounds good, but I don't really believe it's going to work for me. And then appeal, like, what's the next action? So what's really cool is if you look at the anatomy of a good ad, every single ad is going to have a lead, a transition, a sale, and a close. So what's great is basically this framework is how you're going to be able to get your VAs to be able to have every element they need, plug it into Jarvis, and you've got the zap, and then you've got the conversion. So really your ad's going to be broken into 2 parts. This part's going to be evergreen, and the zap is going to be where you test out new PDocs. Is everyone still with me? Austin, do we have any questions?
Chat, you're welcome to post it in there, y'all. But I think this is really cool, and it feels like very clear that there's a direction we can move them down the pipeline. So it seems like people are they're saying they're along with you. This is fire.
Great. Awesome, man. So first of all, I'm going to start with the conversion. So the sale and the close. So what happens is when people test new ads, they don't realize that like you can actually spend a bit of time ticking all these boxes, create one evergreen conversion, and then you can bust out 50 different zaps, which are going to be the angles that we test out. And you can do the same for videos as well. So first of all, the conversion and the sale, basically what you want to do is as soon as you have identified a pain point from somebody, acknowledge them, and then introduce a new claim, there's going to be 3 ways they're going to try to get out of it in their brain. One is going to be, does it have enough authority? And if it doesn't, they're going to be like, oh, they'll look externally and they'll try prove you wrong, or they'll try ease that tension by like going on Google or something like that. Second one is there enough angst involved? Because it could just not be important. Like say the smoking example, that person could just be like, well, there's people out there doing all kinds of like drugs and stuff, and I'm just smoking, so it's not even that bad. And the third one is like, will it work for them? So like people can easily convince themselves like, I get it works, I get it's very important, but I don't think it's going to work for me because I don't understand it. So and then finally, appeal is just like, what's the next step? So your conversion section of your copy, it needs to have authority, angst, lack of ambiguity, and the appeal needed to create a conversion. So what's really cool, this is where we get like into shortcodes and stuff, is we created a shortcode, and we actually have a questionnaire that you can fill out. And what you can do is you can plug this shortcode directly into the feature to benefit or persuasive bullet points of Jarvis, and it will give you a really, really bloody good conversion point. Like it will give you your evergreen kind of benefits that you can now plug into all your copy. So Austin, I'll make sure I paste all the shortcodes and everything, but like what you can do is once you do like the questionnaire, you can just fill this out and then plug the shortcode into Jarvis, and then it will give you these points, which is awesome.
Or written templates, kind of like an ad lib, where you've kind of pulled this out of your spreadsheet and you put it into a sentence format that you can feed Jarvis, and Jarvis will then create original content based on that using the framework feature to benefit.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. So it's like basically what you'll do is if you have a new client, you can just fill out these 16 questions. You can give it to a VA. I'll plug it into here, and then you'll have multiple evergreen pieces of like conversion elements that you can now plug into all your different leads.
Sweet. Well, yeah, we don't have any questions, so you can keep rolling.
Sweet, man. All right, so then you should have like your evergreen base type thing. So you have your sale and close wrapped up, right? And this is pretty evergreen because it's gonna. This is just an example I did. Created some protein shake called powdered snow. Pretty dumb name, but anyway. So actually, it's not that dumb because I saw some stuff with Jarvis. I'll show you later. But once you have that, now you can create your lead in transition. This is where you actually want to like take out the pain points that you have and really start to like plug it in. So the first thing you want to do is you want to identify what's called a workhorse ad. Now, you want to think of this as like basically if you're going to test out a new idea, right? You're trying to test out, you're trying to find like what angle works because it's all about that one idea. So what you want to do is you need to have what's called a workhorse ad because you have to eliminate as many variables as possible. A big mistake people do is they'll write an ad and they'll test an angle, but there's so many different variables that could go wrong where you're not really able to be sure if the angle worked or not. So we create what we call workhorse ads. So what you really do is, and I can paste a guide in here. Basically what we do is we go in, we look at competitors and we look at what ad they've been running for the longest amount of time. And if we know they're spending a considerable amount of spend, either they're going to be just really forgetful of the ad, or there's a chance that ad is one of their workhorse ads. So what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll find a competitor that's very close to us. I've got Kevin Data on here for some reason. It was just the first one I found. And then we'll basically find an ad that's been running for a long period of time or that has copy across multiple creatives. And then we'll pick it and then we'll start deconstructing it. So that's going to be our workhorse. So what you want to do as soon as you find.
By the way, I wanted to let everybody know that you can actually go and look up other people's ads. You can spy on them by going to facebook.com/ad/library. And that's what he was just showing here, the screenshot with the circle around the guy. That's like a public resource that you can go and I think this should be part of anybody's ad strategy. I'll put it here in the chat.
100%. I'll also paste the link to for YouTube ads. We use my boy Ian has a software called Vidteo. It actually allows you to type in a keyword and you can look at what ads have been spending the most, and then you can use this strategy. So as long as you have your workhorse ads, like you'll never run out of ads ever again, particularly when you see how we deconstruct them. So once you have your workhorse ad, this is an example here. You can see you've got the lead, the transition, the sale, and the close, right? Now, what I want to do is we want to pay attention to the lead, right? The first thing I want to do is once we have our workhorse ad, I want to see what lead is the person using. And the reason why is this. So this is the breakdown we use, and I'll show you guys how we go more into depth on it. But basically what we do is we're going to break down, it's called SES. We're going to go sophistication level. We're going to break down the emotion, which is tonality. We're going to plug into Jarvis later, and then the structure. Okay, so if I'm breaking down an ad, like this is a Sam Ovens ad, this is what it looks like. It's like style is this, emotion is this, and structure is this. And I can literally just plug this in to Jarvis to rewrite the ad. Now, what you want to do is, I'm not sure if everybody's read this, but there's a book called Great Leads by Michael Masterson. It is the best copywriting book you ever read. It's amazing. It's just incredible. Other than Sean's book, Sean Wolf's book, that was good too. But what's really cool is this really shows you that like every single piece of copy will fall into one of 6 leads, or maybe like have multiple. And there's 6 leads that you can study. And the really, really cool thing about this is, so you have like offer lead, promise lead, problem solution lead, proclamation lead, secret lead, and story lead, is there's an awareness scale based on lead type. Now, what's really cool about this, and I think was a real game changer for us, is once we figured out how to identify the lead of a competitor, we're able to figure out the sophistication level of the audience that that competitor was targeting. So did I lose anybody there, Austin, or is that one still good? Sweet. So what you want to do is you want to take your workhorse ad. You then want to look at the lead. Then what you can do is, based on the lead type, we've got a number of short codes. So I'll show you just an example. So we've got a bunch of pre-written shortcodes based on lead types. We've got dozens of them, which I'll add in. But basically, what you want to do is you have your lead type. So this is a problem solution lead, and specifically, it's actually an identification. It's identifying the reader by the problem. So we're pretty much identifying anybody that is spending too much money or too much time trying to cook healthy food, right? So what you want to do is you want to grab the short code. You want to swap out the elements, plug it into your long form content editor, and then it will spit out an ad that has the same sophistication level of your competitor, but a completely different idea. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your workhorse ad as a proven structure, and like a vehicle that you know has worked in the past, plug in a completely new idea, and it's going to give you the best possible chance of having an ad that succeeds, and gives you like a good test on whether that angle is going to work or not. So doing this, what you can do is you can basically just take one of these shortcodes, turn it into like, 10 different ads, plug that onto your evergreen conversion focused base, and then just run that bad boy. So here's a quick little summary. So you find your workhorse ad, you identify the lead, you want to use the short code based on your PDocs. You want to plug in your angle. So here's one I have here. Okay, so you want to use this based on the angle that you found in your PDocs. You want to give this to Jarvis in the long form editor, and then the rest will, they'll start building the rest. Then what you do is you take that and you plug that onto your evergreen like benefits, and now you've got a solid ad, which is going to really, really convert.
Wow. Can you stay here for a second? I want to zoom in a little bit more. If you could like blow up the screen, and I'm not sure if it's possible if you're presenting. Sweet. Okay.
Might not be able to blow it up, but I can paste the slides.
Yeah. So your short code, could you describe like how you came up with this framework?
So I think it was, it's basically what we would do is when we were teaching VAs to write copy, we would get them to write out a very long, robotic, drawn out sentence so that the copy had everything they needed, right? Because if you're like write about how Target is dealing with big problem instead of counterintuitive problem, like you have everything you need. So then what you want to do is basically we match that to the leads. But then when we started plugging this in Jarvis one day, and we saw like the output that came out, we're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I just came with like continually testing it, but also like it was something that we would get VAs to do because they would rewrite this later. Because obviously you're not going to write a piece of copy that it's like, all this. It's just a mouthful, right? But what you can do with Jarvis is you can use these shortcodes. You can just jam in all your benefits and all your research and just kind of have it really robotic. And a VA can write this, plug it into Jarvis, and then it'll match the tonality of something good and actually give it solid copy that sounds good. So for us, it was a missing link because we would get VAs to do the research and everything like that. They'll build out these, these kind of briefs, I guess I should call it. But then we would still need to kind of check it over a little bit to be able to see if they wrote it correctly. Because, you can teach these systems to anybody, but the tonality and style is a hard thing to teach someone. So when we came across Jarvis, it enabled us to actually do that. We were like game over, baby. Like it's done. All we need now is to just literally just plug in these short codes and have a VA test out pain points, and that's all we need.
Very cool. And people always love to talk about the different tonalities they use for Jarvis. You can use like brand names. You can use celebrities. What are the ones that you go for?
I look at what my competitor's doing. So if I'll like what I'll do is in the emotion portion of the ad, what I'll do is I'll look at like what is the emotion of it. Like, are they trying to, I just think like what are they trying to, what kind of state of mind is the reader in, and what feelings are they trying to, emotions are they trying to like bring out of the reader. So like this one, for an example, when you haven't got time to cook something healthy, shake up something healthy instead. It's kind of like, it's like fun, playful, but also like just, it's helpful, I guess. That would be like the tone of voice I use. If you really want to go in depth, you can just like go into list of copywriters. Like sometimes I'll, type in like Dan Kennedy or what I have tried, which I'm still testing out, is actually went back to Great Leads, looked at like good examples of different leads and then plugged that into Jarvis. But honestly, what you want to do is just think about the emotion element of the copy of your workhorse ad, and then you can just plug that in the suggested tone of voice.
Interesting. Yeah. One recently I heard that was pretty cool is Billy Mays, because he's like such like a legendary salesman.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Other people do like, Russell Brunson or Dan Kennedy is a good one as well, because since he's written so much. So you want to like try and find people that have a bit of fame to them, because Jarvis is likely have read their tweets, read their blog, stuff like that. And so, just kind of giving Jarvis some things to reach at, including, kind of applying their tone to the copy you've given it.
Yeah, one thing we're working on at the moment, which isn't ready yet, it's going to take ages, but it's like an emotional scale that matches based on copywriters we know, like in terms of their styles. So what we can do is like you can write an ad, you can look at what style you want it to be based on the competitor, and then you can just plug it in, and that's like the copywriter tone of voice you're going to use. I'll let you know when that's ready, but it's taken a while.
I like it. Yeah, let's keep going.
All right, so here's an example. So it goes from there into that, and you plug that into Jarvis. And what you're going to have is, this is like basically literally, so Jarvis did this bit here, and then this bit here was from the evergreen thing that I wrote, and this is the ad. And then what I'll do is, based on the lead type, I will just replicate whatever creative they were using. There was a different creative here where it actually was just like a picture of Huel, and it just had like the main tagline. So I just copied that. It's not my best creative. I literally just did it for the example. But that's how easy it is to basically write the ad. Now, this ad is like, if I ran this, it would probably perform really well because it matches the sophistication level, has the same type of emotion, and it has the same structure of a proven ad. And it's going to give me my best possible chance to be able to test out if that angle's working or not, which is going to be crucial when we get to the next stage. So I guess a quick little breakdown is you have the same base, so the sale and close each time. You're going to attach new leads based on what Jarvis gives you from the short codes, but you plug in based on the what your competitor's doing. And then you can actually use the headline generator by taking whatever is the headline given from the long form editor. I just plug that into headline generator to give me more of a refined headline. And the end result should be like a reverse engineered ad that gives you the best possible chance of success when testing new ideas. And the reason why this is good is because VAs can just do this very easily. So this is the journey. Basically, you're going to find a workhorse ad, identify the lead, use a shortcode, plug in your PDocs, give it to Jarvis, and then you'll have your ads. And then from there, you just want to create what we call like 30% creative. And you can actually use the same thing when doing videos as well. So what you want to do, for an example, is you would find a video that your competitor's doing. You would look at what lead they're using. Okay, so you'd be like, okay, so they're doing a secret lead. So you take that same shortcode, you get a different angle, plug that into the shortcode, put that into Jarvis, and then you have your angle. And then what you want to do is you just want to have like, like, I don't know, 20, 30 different 15-second leads. And then you have like one solid base breaking down the evergreen content. And then you just keep slamming that together. And those are your ads. You can just mass produce that.
Just to give you a little insight, is we did a poll of what kind of agency you are is here attending the call, and so 25% don't have agencies, 16% are Facebook ads, 7% do Google ads, and then you can see polls in the top right, and then SEO and content, automation, and tech. So the service offerings is kind of across the board, which is interesting. But I think a lot of people here, that are doing Facebook ads are going to see your system and be in awe.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, what's really cool about this is you want to get this working with Facebook first, right? Because you've got these cold audiences and you get an angle to work on the cold audiences. And I'll show you how we scale up the angles, because you can take that winning angle, that winning idea, and then you can actually put it across YouTube, and then you can turn it into SEO articles. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with it. I'll just quickly skim, make sure everyone's good. All right, cool. So,
and Adam, real quick, I want to ask the audience, do you all see Adam's face? Because on my screen I do, but it looks like your screen you don't.
Oh, everyone does.
Everybody does. I just see your A that's bouncing.
I just see my A as well. I can't see my own face. It's really scary because like my mouth is still numb from when I got my tooth extracted yesterday. So if I'm just slurring, I apologize. All right, so let me, where are we going here? Let me back out. Oop. 1 second, sorry guys.
Sweet, guys. If you haven't already, there's a button in the bottom left where you can download all the resources he's giving out. I think that includes the slides and I don't know what other stuff you got in there, but all helpful things to help implement this system, find your VAs and get them to train them on how to use Jarvis and these short codes, as he's calling them, to crush it and make your agency so much more efficient.
I'm just gonna refresh my Canva because for some reason it just zoomed in on me, but like, let me just back out of here.
Press Command 0.
Oh, Command 0, is that? Oh, this is a shortcode right there. There we go. Now speaking of shortcodes, all right, I'll pull this up. Yeah, please implement it as well. It's not like stuff that, I know there's like a lot of stuff that it sounds like it works in theory, but it doesn't work in real life. But man, this stuff works. All right, let me go across here. So this is going to be the end result. Is you're going to have a reverse engineered ad that is going to be your vehicle to test out dozens of angles. And I'm going to show you why this is so important. So now I want to get into the feedback loop. Okay, so basically what you want to do is you want to have a VA that just researches pain points, plugs into the shortcodes, and just generates copy on a mass scale. And then you want to plug it into the feedback loop. Without the feedback loop, you're not going to really know what's going on. So this is what we do with Facebook, Google, YouTube. This is how we set up our audiences. Basically what we do is we turn it into a feedback loop. So we'll pretty much grade the ads based on proven audiences. So I'll blow this up in another screenshot, but this is our poll. Like, this is how we test our media buying systems out. So I'll walk through this in more granular detail, but I'll show you the overview right now so you can see how it works. But you'll start off here. You'll find one angle. You'll turn that angle into dozens of other angles. You will then find the gaps, and then you put it into a CBO, and that's how you just scale your ads.
Just remember, we can't see the tiny details, so you'll need to zoom in.
Oh yeah, I've got a Miro board up, so I can go into more granular detail on that for sure.
Okay.
So then what we do there is we'll take all our ads and we'll put them into a Trello board. I'll go through what it's called a STAR board, which stands for test, set up, test, analyze, repeat. And basically what we'll do is we'll just grade our winners and losers. So we'll just grade the ads. And because we know it was a proven ad and everything like that, we'll be able to say, you know, with confidence, did the angle work or did it not work?
Hey, Adam, your screen's no longer sharing.
Oh.
It was just here for a second. Maybe do that last slide.
Whoopsie daisies. Sorry, guys. So I'll just go back to these ones. So we've got the feedback loop. So this is basically what we'll do. So this is our structure. I'll go into the Miro board so I can zoom in for you guys. But basically what we want to do is we have one stage where we test the angle with a proven workhorse ad. We pluck that out. Then we use that to be able to test what we call emotional branches, which I'll show you how to get. And then we pluck that out, and then we optimize the ad, and then we plug it into different CBOs. From there, what we do is we have a Trello board, which is like an assembly line. So we have our workhorse ads, we plug in ads in the backlog, and then they go live, and then the media buyer will just say it's a winner or a loser. Then what you do is you have lists of winners and you have lists of losers. You take the losers and you optimize, and you take the winners and you scale. So I'll get into optimization real quick, but I'm going to come back to this because I do want to get into the scale part. Optimization is like, it's weird. It's like, this is the next step, but it's actually should probably come after the scale, and I'll show you why. But basically what we want to do is when you're optimizing your ad, you know, when you publish an ad or an email, it's not that it just sucked that bad that no one saw it. Like, people still saw it. You know what I mean? Like, if you write an ad and you say it's a video that no one saw it, that, you know, it didn't get any conversions, people still saw the ad. So what you want to do is, based on the framework that we talked about above, if you should have all those 7 elements, you can actually figure out what's missing in the ad, and then you can add that back in. So I'll go back to that because it plugs in once we finish plucking out the emotions of it. All right, so how are we doing for time, Austin? All right, cool. I hope this is making sense for everybody. I'll bash through this. This is probably a mind-blowing part. So, you know, a lot of advertisers it's really like this. They'll find one winning idea, and then it'll just be like a problem solution or something like that, right? And they'll move on to the next one. And this is why people have ad fatigue, is because they don't really get the most out of an angle. So what we want to do is, you know, once you identify different emotions of the customer and plug that into the angle, you're able to like uncover like all these different emotions and really kind of go across the full spectrum of the angle or the pain point or the desire or whatever it is. This unlocks like new audiences and pretty much like allows the algorithm to find completely like new types of people you couldn't find before. So we call this an emotional landscape. I didn't invent this. It was actually a guy called Perry Marshall, if you guys know him, copywriting genius. This is the theory is basically that copywriting is like a tree, or building ads is like a tree. And what it means is basically you have 3 dimensions to an ad. You've got the idea, which is the tree, the emotion, which is the branch, and the frame, which is the leaf. So it kind of looks like this. And this is a quote here. Basically, in one of his lectures, talks about, you know, you want to test new ideas, not different variations of the same idea. And this will allow you to do that. A lot of people will have a winning ad, and they'll be like, oh, cool, let's rip out the headline, or let's put a different picture in or something. But it's like, they're still just testing different variations of the same idea. And that's why there's so much like audience saturation or this ad fatigue and things like that. So what we do is, once you have your idea, you can actually break it off into different emotions. Then what you can do is you can test these emotions, which is going to give you a completely different audience but still under the same type of like pain point or angle. Okay, then from there you can pull it off into frames. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we're selling moisturizer. The first ad would be, the greasy, let's say we look into the forums and Reddit and we find that greasy feeling of moisturizers is like the pet hate, that people have. They're like, I hate it. So what we do is we run an ad and we're just talking about how annoying the greasy feeling of moisturizers are. We say, hey, the ad looks like maybe whatever lead our competitor's using, it's like a proclamation lead. Here's why you don't want a greasy moisturizer. And then we have like our lead and our transition, and then we have the close and the sale based all the points of why they should use our moisturizer. What we would then do is we would be like, okay, so that ad worked. How can we pull out different emotions from that ad? How can we find people that like maybe they didn't really care? Like the greasy feeling gets them, but it doesn't get them enough. So then what we do is we look at what we call an emotional landscape. So let's say for an example, we've got the customer hates, right? So feeling uncomfortable. So now instead of talking about the feeling of greasy moisturizer, we're going to talk about the feeling of being uncomfortable. Maybe we'll talk about it, as a story. Or maybe we'll do worst enemy and we'll talk about a cotton t-shirt. Like maybe our ad would literally just be like a stained pillowcase or a stained cotton t-shirt. And that ad would probably crush it because it speaks just on such a granular level. So what you want to do is once you've identified the winning angle, you want to start pulling out these different emotional branches. And then you can actually plug those into Jarvis as well. So everyone understand this part here? Because I can't see the thing, so just let me know, Austin.
That we did with Ryan Dice. Ryan's the CEO of digitalmarketer.com. And they're here in Austin, and we were talking about like different angles to go with. And he's like, you start with the big ideas first, not with like the headlines or the copy. If you just start writing copy, like you totally skip to the end of the road. You start off with like, what's the big idea, the new opportunity, the thing that they're leaving, what are they transitioning from to go to a new place. He says go from Hell Island to Heaven Island. What's the big transition? And that is totally different idea than just like saying, oh, I'm going to try like reformatting this ad to be like a different version of the same idea. Just reiterating what you said earlier.
Yeah, well, it's once I found this, I was like, I'm never going to run out of ad ideas again, because what you can do is you can take one winning angle. What we do is we use an emotional landscape. Basically, what we'll do is like we have different emotions that we pull out of an angle, and what we'll do is we'll write basically like, okay, so if somebody clicked on this ad, what would they love, or what would they hate? What would the positive belief of them be? What would their worst enemy be? Now, what's really, really cool is you can actually, we're taking out different shortcodes based on emotional landscapes, and you can plug this into the Jarvis marketing angles, and then it can give you the emotional branches for an angle. And this is just super cool. Like basically you could type in like, write about someone who values their health and constantly focus on consuming the right amount of protein each day, spending money on expensive supplements, hates more, like what do they hate more than anything, with an angry tone of voice. And it will give you like just incredible like different kind of sub emotions that you can now build into ads. So the marketing angles is like it's awesome using this strategy, because once you find a winning angle, you just type in like, well, what does the person hate about this? Or if somebody's attracted to this, what do they hate about? Or what do they love? Or what's a positive belief they have? So we've got different shortcodes for that. So what you can do is you pretty much identify one winning angle from your ads. Then you can just pretty much pull out, I don't know, like 10 different emotions. And then each of those winning ads, you can then plug into 50 more ads. So this is the ad, for an example, that I did with Jarvis. So what I did was I took basically, I took like the protein thing, and I said, okay, so, let's say the winning ad was somebody that, it was talking about not having expensive, it's too expensive to have all your protein. So what I did was I was like, okay, Jarvis, if I'm somebody that, you know, is obsessed with being healthy and getting protein and spending all this money, what is it that I hate? And what Jarvis gave me of a headline was powdered sugar. And it was like, it literally said, the problem with most protein powders is they are equivalent to the overpriced powdered sugar. Why not grab a shake that has everything your body needs instead? I plug that in with my you know, evergreen content, and I think this would actually be an ad that crushes it. Particularly if I had just like an image of like sugar, and then or whatever my competitor was doing, like that ad, I think you could probably agree, Austin, would probably do quite well. So this is kind of how it plugs in. So you want to test different ideas. What we'll do is we'll usually have, you know, we'll have like 4 interests, maybe 4 broad audiences, 4 lookalikes, and we'll have the same 4 ads across each of those audiences. And we'll see like what is the winning, you know, what is the winning angle, what is the winning idea. And all we'll do is we'll just have a VA just go through sheets of PDocs, pick one, put it into our workhorse ad, plug it into the Jarvis, and then run it. Then what we do is we take that and then we take the winning ad, and then we're like, okay, so we've got a winning angle, and then we'll come up with like 5 different emotional branches of it. We'll do the same thing like we just did with that ad there. And then we'll find the winning one there, and we'll plug that in, and we'll look at the soft metrics, and we'll be like, okay, so, you know, is this an attention or an action issue? Like, let's say, for example, the click-through rate was really high, but the conversion rate started to like kind of dip after they went to the checkout. So what we'll do is we'd be like, all right, well, let's test out a bunch of different angst-driven ads. So let's take our ad from here and just start testing out angst ads. And then from there, you'll have, like, this is literally reverse engineer the perfect ad. Like, in every way, shape, or form, it is the perfect ad that you can use and put into your campaigns. So I'll go into the workflow for a minute. And this is how, you know, you can build this out. Literally, you can have like maybe like 1 copywriter VA, 1 media buyer VA. You can get good VAs for like, I'll link some resources in that resource guide. You can get ones for like $500 a month that can do this pretty well. Then what you want to do is just have your VA researching using the frameworks, plugging it into Jarvis, giving it to your media buyer. So it kind of looks like this. So basically, the brief from there, you'll have your kind of conversion focused ads, do your research, set up the campaign, then you'll plug in your angles, look at your KPIs. From there, what you'll do is you'll basically look at your winners and losers, and then you'll start scaling based on emotions, and then just repeat the process over and over and over. And the end result is, like, if you think about, you have 2 different agencies, right? You have one agency that is, you know, maybe test like one idea. I don't mean one ad, I mean like one idea a week with like different variations. And then you have another agency that is just pumping out winning ideas. Like, they have like so much more of a chance of succeeding because they can just take all these ideas and turn them into other ideas. So it's like an ideation machine. All right, so that's where all the frameworks are going to be there. And I think that's pretty much, I mean, I'll go into some other stuff, but that's pretty much it, unless anybody has any other questions. And then I'll go through and we'll do like little, I guess, Q&A, Austin, or any other things anybody has.
Yeah, we'll do a little Q&A here in a second. So on the screen in the bottom left, there's the grab all the resources. When you go there, what's kind of like, I heard there's like it opens up Messenger or something like that, where they'll be able
just
to
get a chatbot, and then basically from there, just sign up, and then once we're finished here, I'll add it all in. So don't freak out, there's nothing in there yet. I'll just add everything in, because at the moment I've got like short codes in Notion and all this stuff. So I'll just plug that out, put it into a nice little Google Doc, and add it in for everyone.
Sweet. And yeah, so some people are very curious, you know, the step about, we talked a lot about training the VAs. Where do we find them? How do you seek them out, and where are you looking?
Yeah, so honestly, I think this is the most overthought part of the process. Like, with a system like this, you really just need a VA that can distinguish a pain, a desire, an obstacle, a common belief, or a steroid. So literally, like, what we'll do is we'll go to Online Jobs PH for one. We actually have our own pool now in Venezuela and the Philippines. But when we started out, we would go to Online Jobs PH. We would just get, I don't know, 100 VAs, and we would just basically get them to put together this type of sheet. And we would just say, okay, read through this and tell us what is a pain, what is a desire, what is an obstacle, what is a common belief, what is a steroid. And that's what they really needed to do. Actually, well, they needed to do a little bit more than that because I'll write in the copy, obviously. So we would kind of have a different process to getting, people that could write. So they needed to have some kind of like storytelling or writing ability. But now with Jarvis, you can really just get a VA that can just understand those elements and then plug into the short codes you have pre-written and then plug that into Jarvis. So in terms of like hiring, really you just want to go to Online Jobs PH. I will paste a link to this. And really what I would do is I would just say like, hey, here's an example brand. I wouldn't even give them the resources. I would just say, here's the sheet. Here is the example brand. So say, I don't know, you're doing like an air fryer or something. I want you to watch these videos and identify, give me all the pain points you can find on that brand. I want you to search Reddit, YouTube, anything that you can, and come back to me. I've actually got a guide of like Reddit and all that researching as well, which I'll add in, people can have. But yeah, that's literally what I'll do to get VAs. And then from there, I'll just test out and look at their ability and how accurate it is. Like what I'm looking for is accuracy to see like, what is a specific pain point? Do they understand the difference between a specific pain point and an emotional pain point, or a physical want or need, or an emotional want or need, or do they understand common beliefs? After I do that, what I'll do is I'll just drill them on lead types, and I'll just get them to go through dozens of competitor ads. I think I have an example here, if you're still seeing my screen.
No, could you share it again?
Oh, man, it keeps coming off. Crazy. Was it sharing when I showed the media buying process?
Yeah. Like all your slides have been sharing.
Oh, cool. All right. So I'll show you just an example.
And guys, stick around here for 5 minutes. I have something exciting to share with you. So I'll share that here in a second about hiring VAs.
Let me grab this. So I think it would be like, here we go. So basically we'll just get VAs to just go through dozens and dozens of ads and identify lead type. So we'll be like, like this one problem solution lead, like they'll just go through all the ads, identify lead type, and then we'll get them to actually extract PDocs. So I've got a guide that I can share of that as well. But in terms of hiring VAs, like that's what we look for. Now training Jarvis and things like that, I think the short codes will do most of the heavy lifting because you can just plug it in. But in terms of that, yeah, I mean, we've got SOPs and stuff for that, which I can add in as well.
Guys, I feel like Adam's giving away the farm here. We got to give him a lot of love in the Facebook group after this call. Sweet. Well, I am going to share a sneak peek. You're the first to see this. Before I do, this is something that's been coming up in the Facebook group a lot. There are people, agencies, freelancers, virtual assistants that are crushing it for clients, and they're like, hey, I can help people. And so, but it's a little self-promotional if they just kind of post in the Facebook group. Would you agree? You say, hey, let me help you do this, let me help you do that. It's always in the comments section. And we want it to be like a value-driven place, but if it's always trying to sell services, it kind of like clouds up the group. On the other side, there are also a lot of brands and our customers that are super excited to hire experts at Jarvis and other SEO people, AdWords people, email marketers, other kind of copywriters. There's so many people that are just like overburdened and they just want to hire somebody to do it. So there's definitely a marketplace happening. And so rather than just trying to like ignore that, we thought we'd cultivate it and nurture it. So what I've been doing over the last week is building a marketplace where it's not ready yet, but what I want to offer everybody that's on this call is you can go and apply. And if you're watching the recording, there's a link next to you where you can apply to be on this Jarvis job board where I can search for SEO. And in real time, these are all the freelancers that know how to do SEO. Or Facebook, we can do ads, and there's all these different skills. Let's say I want to find like e-commerce product writers, or if I want to find technical writers, or people who can translate. So that we don't have any translators yet, but if you guys can translate, you can show up here. Let's say I'm specifically wanting to find somebody in the United States. That's important to me. And then I can also look for like ghostwriting services. So here's Deborah, and she is willing to do ghostwriting services, and she's based in the United States. We can also do experience level, like only consultants. I'm not looking to hire anybody full time. I'm only looking for their advice. So I can do that. Well, we don't have anybody yet, so maybe I need to open it up. Who's willing to just be an agency or seeking full-time employment? All these, I only have like 10 people in here as just the first round, but I'm accepting a whole lot more people over the coming week to get you guys here in this first batch. So if that is you guys, then go ahead and apply. I'll post the link to it now. That's for the Jarvis job board. I'm very excited to hear a feedback to this because I want to keep making it better and better and better. For now, it's only to hire people, but soon on the other side, we'll also have it where you can post jobs, and you can go in. You can prospect, like you can actually submit a request for proposal to these brands. So it'll be a two-sided marketplace. And yeah, I think this is going to be a super helpful marketplace for everybody to find and promote their services and find VAs and other people to do these services that are trained on Jarvis. So we're only accepting customers. You have to be a customer to be on the job board.
That's killer. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm excited. And if you guys have any further questions, we can keep the conversation going in the Facebook group. I'm going to make a post right after we get done here, and we can continue it on that. But if there's any questions, I think we got like 3 or 4 minutes here for Q&A.
Yeah. Lay on me. I think is there a recording of this, Austin?
Yeah, for sure. It'll be in the Academy. I won't be able to get to it tonight. I have a volleyball game in like 15 minutes. But we do I'll get it up, probably tomorrow before lunch, my time. And yeah, they're if they want the resources, they can go to the other handout. If you go in the top right, there should be handouts. All right, Tyson's asking about emotional landscapes.
Yeah, so we're still working on those shortcodes, but I'll paste some stuff on that as well. Yeah, everything I'll just do like a bit of a purge, chuck it on there. How many ads would you keep running of one idea? Like, honestly, because it's all different ideas, right? So it's like you have one sub idea, but then you have different emotions from it, and then you can have different frames to that as well. So, excuse me, it's like as many as you want. There's no thing about it. How do you encourage Jarvis to be Facebook compliant? So with that, I think there definitely is a thing around that where you need to have a bit of QA still in that regard. Like, one of those ads where it was like, how to do this without going broke. I think you might want to, adjust that. But ultimately, I think the more you dig into the actual symptom level pains, you're going to get copy that's going to be more compliant because you're not going to be just singling people out. The best analogy I've got is Facebook is like, it's like a cafe, and if somebody overhears you talking about something or telling a story, they'd come to you as opposed to just like dragging someone and be like, hey, come to me to the back alley, I have to show you something.
Some are asking if they can hire you and your VA team.
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole, basically, we have a PDocs program. What we do is we actually like build it out like end to end. what we want to do is we get their office situated, get everything working, and then we literally just build out their whole VA team and build out the whole pod, everything like that. So I can paste some details on that in the chat as well.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, in short, what your PDOC system does is help agencies get more efficient without having to buy more land more retainers. Really, you're just taking home more profit margin because you have the right systems and the right virtual assistants in place that know how to onboard clients. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have a program called Ad Machine where we just build the whole thing out. What we try to do is actually build out SLOs for people. So like a self-liquidating offer. So we have like a service-based business. Basically, we'll come in, get their office situated, but then we can build up this ad machine so they can scale their self-liquidating offer, which is like a front-end $47 product. Because those are the easiest to scale. I mean, e-com you can scale as well, but that stuff is just like, because you have a back end for high ticket, it just scales so quickly. You can do the same with e-com though. It works for e-com. With e-com, it's just, obviously you want to have a solid back end because costs are increasing across Facebook, YouTube, everything like that. So, but that's just, e-commerce 101. But yeah, same thing works. You just want to get that team and then just mass produce angles, especially if your product solves a problem, which sounds very broad, but like it still works for clothing and stuff like that. It's just a little bit different, more about desires and steroids. But if it solves a problem, you can just get so deep.
Last question here. So let's see. We'll do one more question. Of course, guys, the replay is going to be in the Academy. Do you have an online course or is it more of a done with you service?
Well, we've got 2 programs at the moment that teach us organically to get started. And then it shows you like some of the stuff in paid as well. So I can link that. I'll link that to the chat as well. So I'm not bombarding people with links. It's just like, we'll show you how to do it organically. It'll give you like a complete breakdown. We have like a whole challenge and a group and everything you can get into.
Sweet. Well, I'm sure that there'll be more and more questions that stir up as people are looking at the replay and they have the slides next to them and all of this. So what we'll do is we'll have if you search in the Facebook group for this training, you'll find it along with a post that Adam will be tagged in and a screenshot of this training. And we can continue the conversation on that thread.
Awesome.
And it'll be really helpful if we can just get all of that consolidated on one thread to make it just this killer piece of content, Q&A and all of there. And that's where is the best place to reach you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Well, thanks for having me, man. Really enjoy showing this stuff. It's like, I love it.
It's really impressive what you built, man. And how many VAs do you have for like in your agency now?
I mean, we've got we have a whole pool. So we've got a pool of about 500 VAs at any given time. Or I would say probably a little bit less than 500 now. I mean, it's different stages. So we'll take in like a batch of people, we'll train them, and then start deploying them. But yeah, I mean, mainly our biggest thing right now is just building these systems out, these ad machines out for different companies. That's where I think we're heading. And what's really cool is it designs companies to sell for later on, because it's like, it's a machine that they have, not just like we always say it's going from like skill to systems.
From skill to systems. I love it. Well, guys, last note is if you haven't already marked your calendars for June 29th, a lot of exciting things. I'm not going to talk about all of them. You saw the job board is coming. You saw a sneak peek of something that got released earlier today. I'm not going to talk about it, but there's a lot of really cool added features coming to Jarvis. Your life is going to be a lot better, a lot easier, and more powerful AI for sure. So get ready for that. June 29th is the big launch. Go to Conversion.ai/launch and you will be able to attend the live release with the team. So thanks. Dude, it's going to be so cool. I promise. Like if you all remember, the last launch in March is when we launched long form content, SEO, acquisition of headline. We introduced Jarvis to the world. So if you thought that, that was really fun, we'll also talk about the Maui retreat. So a lot of things going on here, and I think everybody should show up to that live on June 29th at 12 p.m. EST.
100%. That sounds sick. I'll mark it on my calendar.
Awesome, y'all. Well, thanks for showing up, and we will see you on the inside. Peace.
Awesome.